Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the Eastern Conference semifinals, Game 1 versus the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and also the Game 7 first round Western Conference Finals Western playoff battle between the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. Now, these were both entertaining games yesterday. The first game I'm going to get into is the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Indiana Pacers won their last series versus the Milwaukee Bucks, come in off of a series win. They came into Cleveland, and for the most part during the first quarter, Indiana Pacers just took it right to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You can see on the scoreboard, like I said, the Indiana Pacers, they are the most they have the best offense in the NBA, but it's an efficient offense. When you look at these scores, you see Pascal Siakam, 17 points, Andrew Naismith, 17 points, Miles Turner, 13 points, Andrew Nabar, 23 points, Tyrese Halliburton, 22 points. Those are the starters. Bench production for the Pacers: Obi Toppin, 7 points, Jarris Walker, 2 points, Thomas Bryant, 2 points, TJ McConnell, 7 points, Ben Shepard, 11 points, Benedict Mathurin, 11 points, Ben Shepard, 0 points, excuse me. James Johnson, Johnny Furry, Tony Bradley did not play. So now we shift to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, one thing I'm gonna say about the Cleveland Cavaliers after I read these scores is their lineup. Their lineup, I have some concerns about their lineup. Evan Mobley, 20 points. Jared Allen, 12 points. Donovan Mitchell, 33 points. Max Strus, 7 points. Sam Morrell, 7. Excuse me. Max Strus, 7 points. Sam Morrell, 6 points. Now, Cavaliers bench production: Dean Wade, 0 points. DeAndre Hunter, 11 points. Isaac Okorko, 2 points. Ty Jerome, 21 points. So, one thing when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, they didn't have any trouble in the first round series, but now I see where, even though you have Jared Allen in your lineup and he's a legitimate scorer, facing up against the Pacers and their small ball lineup, Jared Allen, he is going to be he's not going to be a factor when it comes to the Pacers defending their small ball lineup. Because one thing that I noticed yesterday is the Indiana Pacers, they are the most efficient team in the NBA. But another thing, when they start being so efficient, they can put points up in bunches. They can go on runs like 15-7 run or a 25-9 run. See, that's why I say the Cavaliers, they need to know how to defend better against teams like the Indiana Pacers. Now, one thing about the Cleveland Cavaliers, this is their the first game in the playoffs where they have adversity. They cannot go down 2 games in this series, and especially you lose both home games on your home floor to start out a series, plus you're going on the road to the Pacers arena, and the Indiana Pacers, they haven't lost a playoff game yet. So Cleveland Cavaliers, they are pretty much between a rock and a hard place if they do not win game 2. Now, everybody at the start of the season, I said that it would be the Celtics and the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not wavering my prediction. Everybody, it's just game 1. Like I always say, game one is a fill out game. Like I said, when it comes to football games in the championship, the first 5-10 minutes it's a fill out. It's fill out time to see what your opponent is efficient and deficient at. Now, the Cavaliers, they know what the Pacers are efficient at, which is offense, and they know what they are deficient at, which is they have trouble getting rebounds. They have trouble defending the ball on the other side of the court. So if the Cleveland Cavaliers can attack that consistently, effectively, and efficiently, they will win this series. Now, I think the Cavaliers are going to win this series in 6 games. I do not see this going to a 7th game. But if it does go to a 7th game, the Cavaliers got home court advantage. So the Cavaliers, they have the much deeper team when it comes to efficient scores and bench production. So I do not have any kind of concern when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Game one struggles is game one struggles. But don't let that carry over into game two. So, everybody, game two is tomorrow night. Let's see if the Cavaliers can bounce back. Now, here are the team statistics for last night's Pacers Cavaliers game one. 53% from the floor. The Pacers were shooting. 45% from the floor. The Cavaliers were shooting. The Pacers, this is what really helped them out. They made 19 three-pointers, and the Cavaliers only made 9. So when you have a disparity of 10 made threes, you know that the team that makes the most threes in a game are going to win. Free throws, Free throws, 93% for the Pacers, 72% for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Total rebounds, even at 43. Offensive rebounds, +6 for Cleveland. Defensive rebounds, +6 for Indiana. Assists, +5 for Indiana. Steals, +2 for Indiana. Blocks, +8 for Indiana. Turnovers. Now, let me tell you, the Indiana Pacers, they were lucky last night. 17 turnovers. They had 17 turnovers, and the Cavaliers only had 8. But one thing that I can say is the Pacers, they blew this game open because they scored 36 points in the first quarter. And the Cavaliers, they usually allow in the first quarter is 26, 27. But for for your opponent to score almost 40 points in a quarter, that's not looking good for the Cavaliers. Now, do I think the Cavaliers will do this in game two? No. Because like I said, game one is game one. Everybody struggles in game one. Points in the paint. When I saw this stat, points in the paint, I said to myself, why didn't the Cavaliers win this? The Cavaliers had 70 points in the paint. I said that. I'm going to say that again. The Cavaliers had 70 points in the paint last night. So wherever you may be watching or listening, America or abroad, Cavaliers had 70 points last night in the paint. Pacers only had 38, and the Pacers won. Now, does somebody see something wrong with this picture? Because I don't know if it's me, but the math ain't mathing. 70 points in the paint and you still lose. Now I'm gonna go to my historical stats. Now, before this game started, in the NBA history, a team that scores 70 points in the paint wins the game 89% of the time. This was before last night. Before last night. So, Cavaliers, what they need to work on is interior defense. Now, the Indiana Pacers, I saw their players driving to the basket so much last night. It was almost like an invitation for donuts. It was almost like that. It was almost, here it is. They didn't have a big man on the floor, and this is why I say that. This is why I say that the that Jared Allen for the Cavaliers, this is where he is going to be ineffective, being able to stay out on the court for 30 to 35 minutes. And he had a plus minus of -9 last night. So he might be of value to the Cavaliers on the offensive side, but when it comes to defense, I just don't know. So that's all I have for the Indiana Pacers and Cleveland Cavaliers for game one. The next game, with game two, is tomorrow night between the Pacers and the Cavaliers. The second game that happened last night, and it was a doozy. Now, this game, I knew that if anybody placed a bet on the Warriors last night to win this game or to win the series, you won. You won. I won because I placed a bet on the Warriors to win this series. So last night, this was pretty much, when it comes to what I said before this series started, playoff experience versus youth, and it was clearly on display last night because you could see it from the Warriors. You had Draymond Green played 40 minutes. Jimmy Butler played 45 minutes. Steph Curry played 46 minutes. Buddy Hield played 37 minutes. Brandon Potts-Skimmy played 40 minutes. This was a critical game. It was win or go home. So not much more need to be said. Draymond Green had 16 points. Jimmy Butler had 20 points. Steph Curry had 22 points. Buddy Hield, 33 points. Brandon Potts-Skimmy, 9 points. Bench production for the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga, 3 points. Kevon Looney, 3 points. Trace Jackson Davis, 0 points. Guy Santos, 0 points. Quentin Post, 0 points. Moses Moody, 0 points. Pat Spencer, 0 points. Braxton Key didn't play because of coach's decision. Kevin Knox II didn't play because of coach's decision. Gary Payton II had an illness and an injury. So, playoff experience versus youth, and playoff experience prevailed. It really did. It prevailed last night. And I knew that this was going to be critical for the Houston Rockets, but I got something to say about the Houston Rockets, and in particularly Jalen Green. Now, Amen Thompson, 24 points. Dylan Brooks, 8 points. Alperen Sengun, 21 points. Fred VanVleet, 17 points. Jalen Green, 8 points. Bench production for the Rockets. Jabari Smith Jr., 3 points. Terry Eason, 5 points. Steven Adams, 3 points. And then you have Jared Green, Cam Whitmore, Jayshawn Tate, Jock Landale, Aaron Holiday, Nate Williams, Reed Shepherd did not play because of coach's decision or a injury. Now, let me get to the Houston Rockets. Now, Houston Rockets, they were favored in this series. But there's one person in this series that if he would have played better, the Rockets would have won this game. And yes, I am talking about Jalen Green. Because Jalen Green, throughout this series, through all 7 games, the first game, 38 points. The second game, 11 points. The third game, 9 points. The fourth game, 7 points. The fifth game, 8 points. The seventh game, last night, 8 points. He was in double digits single digits for most of this series. And you are the leader of a franchise. If your jump shot is not going in, you got to be able to pack it in the paint and score. Because I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Jalen Green, he had how many assists? Only one assist last night. If the shot is not going in, he can be able to determine the outcome of a game when he passes the ball to his players for assists. But his play and his mantra when it comes to playing basketball is how many jump shots can I make? If you don't make jump shots, you are gonna have to diversify your game more. So Jalen Green, hey, he is a good player. The Houston Rockets, they are in good hands with him. One thing that I can say is he needs to improve his game better. He does. He needs to improve his game better from a mid-range shot standpoint. See, he needs to improve it there. And also, everybody else, you got Amen Thompson, Alperen Sagan, Fred Van Vliet. Those are your most reliable scores outside of Jalen Green. So Houston Rockets, they are a young, up and coming team. We know that the Houston Rockets are going to be around for they are already a force to be reckoned with. Now you look at these statistics, and most of these statistics were in favor of Golden State. So I'm not going to bore y'all with these statistics. So now, one thing I'm going to say is that tonight we got the Boston Celtics versus the New York Knicks, and we also have the Denver Nuggets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, one thing I can say about the Minnesota Timberwolves is they have better bench production than the Denver Nuggets. So I got OKC. I'm going to say OKC in 6 games. And with the Minnesota Timberwolves and Golden State Warriors, Ant-Man and Steph Curry, boy, that this is going to be an interesting series. Interesting. So, one thing I'm going to say is I believe that the Timberwolves are on a collision course. They are trying to get back to the Western Conference Finals to either play the OKC Thunder or the Denver Nuggets. Now, personally, I would like the Denver Nuggets to play the Minnesota Timberwolves because that would be the better story, and plus it would be a rematch of the conference semifinals from last year. But no disrespect to OKC, we got to see we got to see what OKC can do when they are under pressure, when they are fighting adversity. Over the I'm gonna say last year and this year, OKC they haven't had much adversity. So I just want to see how the Thunder is going to be able to play under pressure, under adversity. And with that, those are my reactions to game 1 of the Pacers Cavaliers series, my reaction to game 7 of the Warriors Rockets series, and my predictions for the Boston Celtics New York Knicks series, Celtics in 5, and my prediction for the Golden State Warriors and Minnesota Timberwolves series. I got the Timberwolves in I got the Timberwolves in 6 games. Yeah, I got the Timberwolves in 6 games. I don't I There's just something about the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves, they have the better bench production than the Warriors do. The same with the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. Boston has the better bench production. So both of those teams are going to win the series. And with that, those are my reactions and predictions to the playoff games from last night and the playoff games that are going to be on tonight. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. We are also doing an expansion right here on YouTube, Key Time Sports. Please like, share, follow, subscribe. We are also doing an expansion on my other show, Key City Sports, on Instagram. So please like, share, follow, subscribe. We are doing that. Expansion is going great, and within the next couple of months we will be doing more and more big things with both of these shows. So I'm going to go over to Instagram and I'm going to talk about both of these games and the games for tonight. So do not do not leave do not leave YouTube, but go on over to Instagram right now. Go on over to Instagram. I'm going to be over there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. So one last thing I want to say. Remember, the key is always on time.